his life into a nightmare.
Security systems.
It's Teddy. Can you phone home after 4? Tell Maggie I'll be having my Friday drink at the club. I'll be home at the usual time. I preach the gospel of security.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
I leave home in the morning, I kiss my beautiful wife, I kiss my beautiful children. I got, say, 2 nights on the road. What am I thinking?
What are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
I don't know.
A salesman always knows. It's a state of mind.
Yeah, but how am I supposed to know what you're thinking?
Then you listen. A salesman always listens.
Freedom.
What?
I'm free.
What are you talking about?
That's what you're thinking.
Free?
2 nights on the road.
No. You're not listening.
That's what I'd be thinking.
No, you don't understand. Listen, I'm a happy man. Look. No, how can you understand? I'm sitting, I don't know, somewhere up north, Doncaster, say. I'm chasing a prospect. This man has got 23 rooms. I spent the evening working him out. Now it's midnight. I'm between one long day and another. I need to relax. So, take a shower, come down at the bar to be amongst my colleagues and friends, right? I can do that without fear. Nothing is hammering at the back of my brain. So, how do I do it? Harry?
I don't know.
Come on, Harry.
No, I'm sorry. Can't think.
He knows, right? He knows what I'm talking about. I can sit there without fear because I know that my beautiful wife and my beautiful children are safe. I'm not Mr. Macduff, He knows what I'm talking about. No one's going to walk in there and give me a story of slaughter. Tell him a story of Mr. Macduff, Billy.
Mr. Macduff?
Shakespeare, Billy. Macbeth.
What do you know about Macbeth? He didn't sell security.
I'm safe because I have built a castle, and around my castle is a moat. He knows, Billy knows. I've got magnetic switches to door and window, personal attack buttons, front and rear, pressure mats, vibration detectors, volumetrics, ultrasonic and PIR. I've got perimeter alarms and space alarms, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He knows. I have built a castle, and around my castle is a moat. That's why I have no fear. You have fear, young man. Oh, yes, I can see that. And you have fear.
What do I fear?
Living, that's what you fear. And what is the price for this freedom from fear, this peace of mind? I'll tell you what it is. 1/6 of a family saloon, that's all it is. I can give peace of mind to a 7-room prospect for 1/6 of a family saloon. And that is my gospel of security.
You sound like a Godfrey.
Ah, sure, why not? He's in the marketplace just the same as the rest of us. We're all after Mr. John. Oh, yeah, you can laugh, my friend, but I'll tell you this, you can't sell if you're not sincere. You have to believe in what you sell, just as the man selling Jesus has to believe. Now, my prospect is an anxious man. This thing we call the crime wave is making him ill with worry. What I'm going to do is make him feel worse, just for a while. I will walk into his house like a man who has Buddha, and I will tell him of this crime wave with figures that will make him shake. And yet he will see that I'm completely relaxed, a man who is in balance. He will look at me, and he will not rest till he has what I have. This man is now on my string.
Oh, God!
What was all that about?
His celling's gone to pieces.
Harry,
He's in the wrong game.
what do you know?
You just got to look at him.
He's been selling bathrooms for 20 years.
Maybe it's the wrong product.
No, a good salesman can sell anything to anybody.
He's worn out.
He's got in the wrong groove, that's all.
He's too old.
He's not 50.
Yeah, but he's over 40.
Yeah, he's half bald.
He's not bald.
Half bald?
So what if he is? Billy's half bald.
Yes, but he sells caravans.
So?
So he doesn't sell bathrooms.
At 45, you have the right to be half bald.
If he was a real knobhead, he might have a chance of turning on the women. But a scuffhead shouldn't be selling bathrooms. You have to be right for what you sell.
And what do you sell?
Poison.
What kind of poison?
I kill vermin.
I think he's got trouble at home.
Oh, that's no good. That's no good at all. You have the backup, the family at home. It's like a battery recharge. You're not still at it?
Yeah. Can't seem to stop. As soon as we get this finished, we can get on with the painting.
This evening?
No, I can't this evening, but certainly tomorrow and Sunday?
Hi. I've just made some tea. Or would you like your dinner now?
You eating with us?
He's got a date.
You have? Who with?
Judy.
Judy again.
Yeah.
Looking forward to meeting this Judy.
I have to be careful. She might fall in love with you.
She'd better not. Dinner will be ready in 5 minutes.
Okay, where are the children?
Lucy's. They'll be back at 8.
Look at these. Aren't they beautiful?
Oh, they're sweet.
For Thomas and Tamsin. I couldn't resist them.
My wife is having an affair. Can you believe that? I found the letter. It was in her lingerie.
A love letter?
A kind of Valentine.
Was it signed?
D.D.
D.D.
That's his pet name. David Donald Marsh. I know it's him. I matched his handwriting to a postcard he sent us from a cruise on the Rhine. He lives across the close. Our bedrooms face each other. This animal is my neighbour, for Christ's sake.
Harry, that's terrible.
It's been going on for months. Maybe years, for all I know. And all this time, I've been living in the middle of lies. Of course, as soon as I found the Valentine, I understood it all the gestures, the glances, the cooing going on in front of my eyes in my own home.
That's terrible.
I mean, I have grown-up children, and this is going on.
It's unforgivable, Harry.
See, I think I'm a decent man.
You are a decent man.
I mean, no one's perfect.
Harry, you are one of the best.
Well, I've dedicated my life to providing a home for my family. I've driven 30,000 miles a year for 20 years to give them something to be proud of.
I know that, Harry. I know you have.
I don't understand it. After all these years,
What have you said to your wife?
I don't know what to do. Can't think anymore.
Your wife, Harry. What have you told her?
Nothing.
You haven't said anything.
I'm frightened of losing her.
You are losing her.
I don't want to be on my own. I'm not a young man.
If this was happening to me, I would take this man on. I would go to his home, I would knock on his door. Listen to me, Harry. And I would threaten him with his life. I mean, I would murder him. Do you understand? He has broken the rules. Your home is a sacred place. Listen to me. He has to understand that intruders will be attacked.
Sometimes I think the world is crumbling.
No. Listen, 25 years ago, I was sitting in a bar in the small hours of the morning. There were 4 or 5 men, salesmen, swapping stories, vying for the spotlight. But there was this one dapper little man in the middle, a Leicester man he was. He wore the most fantastic shoes. He was holding the light and he was not giving way to anyone. I will tell you the secret of life. There are 2 kinds of people, he said. Marionettes and their masters. I am a master of the marionettes. You have control of your destiny, but you have to hold the strings. Harry, I've never forgotten that. You should fight him.
Fight him?
Fight him.
Well, how do you mean?
Go out and go for him.
With what?
Whatever he likes.
An axe?
That's what he likes.
Is that what you told him?
I certainly did.
You told Harry to go round to this man with an axe?
Well, why not? He's taken Harry's wife for himself.
And what about Harry's wife? What happens to her?
If she wants to keep her marriage and her home, she has to repent so he can forgive.
Maybe it's not quite as simple as that.
What?
Maybe Harry has slanted the truth to get your sympathy. I'd like to hear her story.
Her story is very simple. She's having sex with Harry's friend and neighbour.
Maybe she was driven to it.
Driven to having sex with her neighbour?
That's beside the point.
What?
But he's a neighbour.
I don't understand.
Well, it doesn't make any difference where he lives.
I don't understand that. This is going on in a cul-de-sac.
She may love him.
May love who?
Harry's wife may love her neighbour.
She can't.
Or maybe she can't help it.
What?
Maybe Harry is boring.
are you saying?
Maybe Harry has been boring for 20 years and this neighbour is a wonderful man.
Are you saying it's Harry's fault?
It could be.
Out all hours, working himself into the grave, and his wife is having afternoon sex on his living room floor with his neighbour, and it's his fault? If I was Harry, I would kill him.
I need some red for the chilli.
I don't have any red.
But I can't make chilli without wine.
I'll get some from the hat.
Thank you. And can you take the empties from the garage?
Right.
And if you're taking the car...
No, I'll walk. It's a nice day.
Get me a doctor, a nurse, someone, anyone who knows what to do. So, you're gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. Just hang on.
Oh, my God.
Give me some help here.
How did it happen?
Well, what do I do?
Did you see?
I don't know what to do.
Was it a car?
You're gonna be okay. Okay. Just a few more minutes.
It must have been a car or something.
I have to stop this blood.
I've never seen so much.
Oh, dear God. It's not stopping. It isn't stopping.
It must have been a car.
Go away. Will you go away? Some bandages. I need some bandages.
Will he die, do you think?
Jesus Christ.
Poor man.
Just a few more minutes. Just hang on. Hang on.
Do you think he'll die?
You stupid woman! Get out of it, will you?
Mr. Rose, congratulations. Detective Inspector Tennyson.
Pleased to meet you. How is he? Do you know?
He has lost a lot of blood, and some internal bleeding is giving cause for concern, but I believe they're expecting him to pull through.
Thank God for that. When will they know for certain?
I would think tomorrow.
Call first thing. I couldn't get the children to sleep. I had to tell them the whole story 5 times.
We're very proud of him.
Of course they are.
Care for a drink?
Not for me, thank you. Mr. Rose, I read the statement that you gave this afternoon. I'm awfully grateful, but I wonder if you'd mind recalling the events again.
No, not at all.
It's just to clear my mind.
Yes, of course. Well, I left here to get a bottle of wine from the top hat. I cut through Windsor Avenue. I heard a cry. I couldn't quite place it at first, but I was alarmed enough to start running. When I turned into Windsor Avenue, I saw him lying there. Well, the first thing I did was take the chisel out of his stomach. I shouldn't have done that, should I?
Why not?
Because of the blood. I couldn't stop the blood.
So after you'd taken the chisel out, what did you do with it?
I can't remember. I don't know. I chucked it away, dropped it. I was only interested in trying to stop the blood.
When did you see people coming to help?
Almost as soon as I was there. I saw one man across the street. I shouted at him to get an ambulance. Sent another man off to... I can't remember. I asked for some first aid from this woman.
So you were sending people away?
I'm sorry?
They were coming to help and you were sending them away to get a bandage, to get an ambulance, to get a doctor?
Yeah, that's right. But soon enough, there's a whole bunch of us around him.
Was there anything suspicious about anybody's behaviour?
The people that were helping?
Yes.
What kind of thing?
I don't know. Anything unusual?
I don't think so.
Can you picture it in your mind?
No, It's a phone ringing. Yeah, I remember that now. Bloody phone ringing. Never seen it stop. Must have been in Tim's house. Friend of ours. The assault happened outside his house.
I was thinking of unusual behaviour in anyone who was helping. You see, the man who committed the assault could have been someone who later came to help.
I hadn't thought of that. No, I can't recall anyone behaving in that kind of way.
Well, don't you have any description of the man?
No one saw anybody, as far as we know at this stage.
Well, surely the man we saved would be able to tell you something.
Well, we hope so. Do let me know if anything else comes to mind, however trivial you may think it to be.
Yes, of course.
Goodbye, Mrs.
Goodbye.
Rose. Oh, did I see a boat in the garage?
Yeah, I'm building it for the kids.
Oh, I've got a colleague doing the stuff. I'm sure you'd be interested to see it.
You mean this man was stabbed 17 times and lived?
That's right. They're pulling him round right now.
Oh, you don't stab a man 17 times and not hit something.
We hit something. I've never seen so much blood. They told me it was 2 minutes from death.
Who'd do something like that?
Did they know who he is?
No, don't have a description.
I mean, the man you saved.
Question is, was he worth saving? What if you've just gone and saved a monster?
His name's Oswald Jones. He's a librarian from Durham. Came down for the weekend to visit his sister, and he has no other connections here. It was a completely motiveless attack.
How can an attack be motiveless? What you mean is they're looking for a motive.
What make of chisel was it?
What do you mean, what make a chisel? What do you expect me to do? Look at the nameplate when I was taken it out of his stomach.
Oh, I think it's important. I wouldn't want to buy a chisel that can't kill a man after 17 goes.
He was dying in my arms in the street. I could see the life draining from him. I could see that in his eyes. I shall never forget the way he was looking at me. He was a man without any hope of anything. I shall never forget that. I've a friend who hasn't sold a bathroom suite in 6 weeks because he's lost his pride in who he is and what he does. So I sat him down and I told him, it's the salesman who turned the wheels of the world. Think about it. Everything that's ever been known is in our keeping, and we sow the world with that knowledge. You have to know your value. When you know your value, then you can sell.
Good publicity, congratulations. Streets of fear, and a home security salesman saves a man's life. Hoo-hoo. Well done.
I won't keep you more than a few moments.
No, that's all right. Would you like some coffee?
Only if it's no trouble.
No.
Thank you.
Excuse me asking, Mrs. Rose. The detective inspector here was telling me your husband's building a boat in the garage.
Oh, yes?
Well, I wondered if I might have a look at it. It's just that I'm thinking of building one myself, you know, something small for the kids.
Oh, yes, of course you can.
Thank you.
I'll have to open up for you. Everything has a lock and an alarm. I spend all morning unlocking and switching off.
Your husband seems to enjoy his work.
Ah, he never stops. He works and works.
That must create a lot of pressure.
Oh, he likes it. He likes winning and targets and prizes and going up. He likes all that.
Well, he'll have to be careful.
What about?
Well, has to make room for his family.
Yes, he does.
Are you saying he does?
Yes, I am.
Nice-looking children you have.
Thank you.
Happy?
I'm sorry.
You look happy.
Yes, we are.
I don't often meet people still smiling at each other after 10 years.
Milk?
Thank you. Were you here when your husband went out to buy the wine?
Yes, I was cooking chili. I wanted the wine for the chili.
So it was red wine you wanted?
Yes.
Was that all he went out for?
He took the empties from the garage.
Was it a tense atmosphere when he left?
Where?
Here.
No, why?
I understood there was.
Who from?
Wasn't it from you?
No,
Last time I was here.
I don't recall that.
Perhaps he was tense.
I don't think so.
He seems like a tense man.
Does he?
Isn't he?
Maybe. Sometimes.
But not the kind of man to show it. He needs to learn to relax. That's what we all need to learn today. Do you get any ideas?
Yeah, very impressed.
He's been working at it a long time.
Oh, how long?
18 months. It's been a labor of love.
It's a lot of work for one man.
I'll get your coffee.
Oh, he's not got time for coffee. Oh, we have to be moving on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My fault. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Rose.
What do you mean you don't know what he wanted? He wouldn't have come here just for a coffee.
That's what he did.
There must have been a reason.
If I could tell you a reason, I'd tell you.
They're looking for a man who almost stabbed someone to death.
There were two of them. One was Tennyson. He had the coffee. And the other, whose name I can't remember, he went into the garage to look at the boat because he said he was building one for the kids.
Now I understand. Why didn't you say that before? I'd invited him round via Tennyson to look at it. Now it makes sense. 1, you can't sell unless you feel on top of the world. Keep fit, eat light, sleep deep. 2, believe in what you sell. I love my wife and children passionately. I want them to feel and be secure. And that's what I want for every family. That's why I sell home security. It's a mission. 3, be in control.
Mr. Tennyson on the phone for you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Hello.
Mr. Jones, you will be pleased to hear, is well enough to receive visitors.
Marvellous.
And he has expressed his desire to thank you in person.
Really?
Would you mind coming to the hospital?
Be delighted. Of course I would, wouldn't I?
Why don't I meet you there at 7 this evening?
No, he has no memory of it at all.
Isn't that extraordinary? It's as if some evil force has projected itself onto him. I mean, to be suddenly struck down like that with no one seeing or hearing anyone, it's as if his attacker had literally materialised and vanished.
You mean he was stabbed by an imp?
No, I'm not serious, of course. Well, I've got to look a right chump if you'd put that in your report.
At least another 5 weeks.
Really?
And then another 10 weeks at home.
Oh, you'll be able to catch up on all those books you've been meaning to read.
There you are.
Thank you.
They seem to be looking after you well enough. Some pretty nurses, too.
I promised the doctor no more than 2 minutes.
Well,
I'm afraid we must leave you.
I don't know where to put the flowers.
Leave them on the bed. I'll ask a nurse to put them in a vase.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And thank you.
I was was proud to help.
Oh, I've forgotten to give him my card. It's been in my pocket all day. Excuse me a moment. Good. No, I was interested in what you were saying about an evil force. When I spoke to Mr. Jones this afternoon, he said the man who stabbed him seemed to be gripped by an evil force. It was as if he was possessed, as if the devil were in him. Those were his words. Now, I find that fascinating.
Yes. Yes, I got your message, thank you.
I've a couple of witnesses' statements I'd like you to corroborate. When is it convenient?
This evening?
Oh, that's fine. Would you mind coming to us?
No, not at all. I'll be with a client in Lincoln this afternoon, so I won't be home until about 8.
Sorry about this.
It's all right. Anything I can do to help?
Oh, please sit down. Subsequent to your visit to Mr. Jones in hospital, a very odd thing has happened. He has identified you as his assailant.
Me?
What do you say to that?
That's impossible.
That's what he says.
But I helped him.
He says you stabbed him.
You know I didn't.
That's what he says.
I don't believe it.
I decided to take a walk down Windsor Avenue as it was a pleasant afternoon. A man, whom I have since identified as Edward Rose, appeared as if from nowhere and stabbed me with what I have since learnt to be a chisel.
But I've never met him before in my life. Why would I want to harm him?
I have no idea why Edward Rose would want to harm me. I never met him before or heard of him before.
There must be something wrong with him. Some block in his memory. He's confusing me with someone else.
Well, he says he remembers your eyes.
What? Yeah, I was leaning over him, helping him, willing him to live.
Full of hate?
I was comforting him.
So much anger.
I was angry with a woman standing there doing nothing.
Says he saw you holding the chisel.
Yeah, I was. I was taking it out of his stomach.
Mr. Rose, I'm just putting to you what he has put to me. Of course, he's been through a terribly traumatic experience. His memory is bound to be blurred.
Yes.
Did you stab Oswald Jones?
No, of course I didn't. I saved his life.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of this.
There's not one door you can't walk through. Wembley, right? Cup final. I was 11 years old. Money I had in my pocket wouldn't even buy a hot dog. So I hung around a gate at the stadium, looking for a way in. And then I saw this fella. He was on his own, checking his ticket, so I whipped it out of his hand. Well, he snatched it back, so I said, hey, he stole my ticket. Well, before the guy could say anything, he was pounced on. 10, 15 men, wham. One of them gets the ticket, gives it to me, pats me on the head, and I'm in. You see, you can get in anywhere. There's always a way.
Night all.
So what time do you call this?
I got an early start. Will you phone Anderson? Tell him I can't make it tonight.
That won't please him.
Can't help that.
It's an account to win, Teddy.
I'll win it tomorrow.
Where are you going?
Got another appointment.
With whom?
Mr. Tennyson.
Do I know him?
No, I don't think so.
It's not Tennyson of Newfield Homes, is it?
No, that's Berryman.
Would you say you're an honest man?
Yes, I would like to think so.
Telling the truth's important to you.
Yes, certainly.
But even for an honest man, the fear of ostracism and punishment has to be contended with, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but I believe there has to be justice.
A man must face the consequences of his actions.
Yes, in the civilized world.
Even if it means social and professional suicide for him?
Yes. Law and order must be maintained.
Not just for other people. No. But I would expect an honest man to hang on to a lie if his life depended upon it, wouldn't you?
You might not.
Oh, I would think so. In my experience, I would say so. Would you?
What?
Tell a lie if your life depended upon it. I would.
I wouldn't know.
You've not been telling me the truth, Mr. Rose.
When? Tell me when.
When you left your house on that afternoon, did you leave by the back door or by the front door?
The back.
Why the back?
My wife asked me to return the empties.
And where were the empties?
In the garage.
So you went into the garage to pick up the empties?
Yes.
And you picked up the empties?
No.
Why not?
Didn't fancy it.
Fancy what?
Carrying the bottles.
A few empties in a plastic bag?
I wanted to be free.
Free? Free for what?
Free to stroll.
And you can't stroll with a plastic bag?
Not with the bottles clunking at the bottom of it, no.
Then why did you go into the garage?
To get the bottles, but I changed my mind when I was there.
Have you got a son, Mr. Rose?
Yes?
Yeah, I got a son. And when he's not telling me the truth, he sounds a little bit like you.
I'm telling the truth.
What was the wine you went for at the off-license, French or Italian?
I didn't buy any.
Why not?
Because I found Mr. Jones on my way there, not on my way back.
So there was no wine for the chili?
No.
That is not the truth. Mr. Rose, criminal investigations hang upon a fragment of cloth, a speck of dust, a drop of oil, a sliver of glass, the smallest lie. These are the vital clues. These are the keys that open the door. You had wine at home, didn't you?
Yes.
So why did you go out to buy a bottle of wine if you already had a bottle of wine?
Sounds stupid.
Tell me.
Didn't want my wine tipped into a cooking pot.
But the wine you would have bought would also have been your wine once you'd bought it.
Yes.
Well, how would you have got around that one?
I know it doesn't make sense, I know that.
Perhaps the wine at home was too classy for the cooking pot, is that it?
Yes.
But you had wine at home as cheap as anything you can buy at the Top Hat.
I didn't want to use that.
Why not? Was it not classy enough?
I've got a full rack of bottles. I didn't want one missing. I like to see it full. It makes me feel... It makes me feel I'm doing all right. That's what I'm like. Well, it makes sense to me. Look, I don't understand what you're getting at.
You'd no reason to go to the Top Hat, did you?
I fancied a walk, that's all. It wasn't an important decision. It's just something I felt like doing. Is there a better reason?
All right, I'll tell you what I'm getting at. I am suggesting to you that going to the top hat was not your reason for going out. It was your excuse for going out.
I don't understand.
I have irrefutable evidence that Mr. Jones was stabbed with a chisel from your garage. Your chisel, Mr. Rose. Your chisel. Is this your chisel, Mr. Rose?
Looks like one of mine.
It is one of yours.
Can't be.
I have irrefutable evidence.
It's impossible.
You're not telling me the truth.
How can it be?
I would scarcely credit it myself if it were not for the evidence of the victim himself and the witnesses.
What witnesses?
Do you remember a Mr. Andrews?
He shouted at me to call an ambulance.
Oh, yes.
The chisel was in his right hand, and he was holding it as if he was about to plunge it into Mr. Jones's body.
I was taking it out of his body.
It certainly didn't look like he was taking the chisel out of the body.
I swear to God I was.
He says certainly not.
I know what happened.
Oh, but you see, so does he.
Did he see me stabbing him? Did he?
I did not see Edward Rose stabbing Mr. Oswald Jones because he was just at the point of stabbing him when he looked up and saw me.
So what he is saying is, you were about to stab Mr. Jones yet again, but on catching sight of Mr. Andrews, you adopted another role, that of a Samaritan, intent not on killing Mr. Jones, but on saving him.
How can he say that?
Another witness.
Oh, no, not her.
You remember Mrs. Lewis?
That woman is an idiot.
I heard a man calling for help, so I ran out into the road to see what was going on.
Not to help, anything like that, just to see what's going on.
When I arrived, a man who I later identified as Edward Rose was in a state of panic.
Yes, I was.
He did not seem to know what to do.
No, I didn't, but at least I did something. That woman...
His behaviour towards me was extremely aggressive.
Is that true?
Yes, it is. I asked her to get a doctor to do something, anything. But she just stood there asking the stupidest question.
Then it occurred to me that Edward Rose had stabbed Mr. Jones and that because I was there, he was unable to make his escape. So I stayed because I was suspicious of that being the situation. And that is what I believe was at the root of Edward Rose's anger towards me.
What she is suggesting, Mr. Rose, is that your behaviour was akin to that of a trapped animal. In the light of knowledge I have already received, I find this lady's reading of the situation extraordinarily perceptive.
I have a wife and family that I love. I've got a good home and a good job. I'm doing well. I work hard. I'm a good man. Why would I do something like that?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
I need to speak to you.
What about?
I can't say here.
You better come in.
What will I do?
Get a solicitor. Well, it sounds as though they're stuck for knowing who did it, so they're trying it on you. A good solicitor will stop any of these games.
I think you're right.
I know I'm right.
You won't mention any of this to Maggie, will you?
No, of course not.
I don't want her worried.
Look, if they thought you'd really done it, they'd have charged you by now, wouldn't they? Relax.
Why did they keep you so late last night?
I was looking through files.
What files?
Photographs.
Of what?
People they know, criminals.
Why were you looking through those?
They were hoping I might recognise somebody.
But you didn't see anybody.
No.
So, what are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying.
I might have recognised somebody. Don't keep asking me questions. Phone Anderson. Tell him I can't make it today. I'll call him tomorrow.
You won't like that.
That's too bad. I just left to wait. Why was Tennyson here today?
How do you know he was here?
So he was here.
What are you playing at?
What did he want?
I can't make him out. Just the same old questions.
What questions?
Just the same. You know what he's like.
Yes. You haven't seen Tim today, have you?
No.
I better give him a call. He said he'd be round.
Well, someone must have seen something.
You would have thought so.
I find it very strange.
What about the bloke that got stabbed?
He couldn't remember a thing.
Nothing at all.
That's what they told me.
I had a visit this afternoon. A Dick asking me questions.
What about?
He wanted to know all about my wife's affair. I said, what the hell's it got to do with you? First the whole neighbourhood knows about it, now the whole town. I had all kinds of personal questions thrown at me. How did I find my wife's lover's Valentine in her lingerie, for Christ's sake? Then he asked me about my conversations with you. What did I say? What did you say? What did I say? Jesus. Then it occurred to me, how the hell did he know about this anyway? So I asked him.
Teddy, phone.
He said your wife told him about it. His wife, what about that? I mean, is everybody in this town talking about my personal problems?
Hello.
Mr. Rose, I'm sorry to have to pull you away.
And after I'd given him all the intimate details of my screwed up life, I said, excuse me, one question. Why do you need this information? And he said, that's none of your business. Can you believe that?
Gotta go. Dinner's on the table.
Who's in the doghouse then? They've been asking me questions too.
What about?
Teddy?
Me too.
And me.
I've always thought that when a man kills a prostitute, he's killing his mother. What do you think?
I wouldn't know.
An act of transference. So when I'm confronted by a crime with no apparent motive, I think about the mother and the prostitute. Now, you stabbed Mr. Jones, but who is it you wanted to stab? I've been looking through your history. I see you've got a criminal record.
Well, I don't.
Are you denying it?
I'm an honest man.
That may be your aspiration, but it's not who you are. For a start, Mr. Rose, your name's Roberts. Eddie Roberts. You became a Rose. Why?
Well, I don't wish to discuss it.
Because Roberts is the criminal and Rose isn't.
I've other reasons.
What?
They're personal.
Of course they are.
His father was an accountant and his mother a teacher. They were a very loving and devoted family. They died in a car accident when Teddy was 7. After the accident, he went to live with his grandmother, but she died when he was 18, so then he went into lodgings.
Who are they? Your wife thinks they're your parents. Did you pick this up in some junk shop, this Mr. and Mrs. Rose? This little fairy tale? He was a very nasty man, your father, Mr. Roberts, wasn't he? He hit your mother with a steam iron. Burnt her breasts. Broke her jaw. And then he ran away. Is that why you changed your name?
I didn't want any of that man still around me.
And a year later, your mother died. When you were 7. How did it happen, Teddy?
She was sitting in an armchair. She looked very comfortable. I thought she was asleep. So I went to bed. She was still there in the morning. I waited. Oh, dear God.
And then you went to live with your grandmother. I'll call for some tea and toast. Did you stab Oswald Jones?
I just went to help him.
So, let's get back to this criminal record of yours. March 62 theft, October 62 theft, January 63 criminal damage. This is the story of a juvenile delinquent.
That was over 25 years ago.
May 62 married, Wendy Marshall. February 64 separated. What happened?
I was 17.
You married to escape your grandmother?
Yeah.
And the girl was not your style?
We hardly knew each other.
And your wife, your present wife, doesn't even know of her.
What have you told her?
You see, what interests me most is the lengths that you will go to maintain a lie. Your ability to deceive those closest to you, even your wife.
What have you told her?
Well, you're terrified of losing her, aren't you? Insanely jealous man always are. August 63, you attacked a man outside a pub in Dorking. The report says you went totally berserk. The man you attacked was having sex with your wife, Wendy, and Wendy says you went into an insanely jealous rage.
That was another world. That's not me anymore. I'm not that person.
You were an insanely jealous man then, but you're not an insanely jealous man now.
No reason to be jealous now.
Yes, precisely. It is the circumstances that maketh the man. You are not insanely jealous now because you have no cause to be. Because, you see, you do have a propensity for emotional extremes, don't you? It's the legacy of your childhood.
That person she told you about, that's not me.
No, for now, you were a rose.
I went to college. I passed exams. I put on a suit and tie and I worked day and night. I'm a family man. My children are my life.
You were a reformed character.
Yes. Yes. I am.
I don't believe in reformed characters, Mr. Roberts. Men cannot just dissolve and reform. You'll carry your childhood into your grave. But 5 years ago, my wife walked out on me. She went off with a farmer. Oh, he's fat. He's not rich. He's got a terrible temper. And when he comes in after a day's work, he stinks. As you can imagine, this was a cruel blow to me. Oh, I started to drink. My work fell off. I missed promotion. I lost my wife in my home. Then one day, I stole a crystal rabbit from a department store. Now, for a policeman, that is not a wise thing to do. I just picked it up, put it in my pocket. I made a display of it. I wanted to destroy my career. I wanted my world to end. An act of self-destruction in broad daylight during a period of personal crisis. Exactly the circumstances in which you stabbed Mr. Jones.
I don't have any personal crisis.
Now, I'm talking about the crisis in your marriage.
That was 25 years ago. I don't even know where she lives.
Your marriage now. Your wife's affair. Maggie.
What affair?
I know what it feels like.
Well, my wife wouldn't have an affair. What are you saying?
I've been there myself. I feared the truth too much to face up to it, so I shut it out of my mind. I walked around in a kind of hallucinatory world. But you have to let the truth in.
My wife wouldn't do that.
It was exactly my word.
She wouldn't.
I can hear myself saying it.
It's not true.
Come on, you know it is.
My wife loves me.
I'll admit it.
We're a family.
Admit it.
You're setting me up.
I hate men who take other men's wives. They're the pits. They're the slime and the scum of the sewer. I'd take their heads off, wouldn't you?
What are you saying?
You walked into your garage, you picked up your chisel, and you went looking for Timothy Greenwood, didn't you?
What?
You have a remarkable capacity for self-deception. You walked into your garage, you picked up the chisel, and you went looking for Timothy Greenwood, didn't you?
Tim? What for?
It's been going on now for about 2 years.
That's what he told me.
It's impossible.
Don't deny it.
Nah, not Maggie and Tim.
Oh, come on.
He's a good friend.
We met at a party at a friend's house. But it wasn't until the following summer that things started getting romantic between us. Was it?
We're building a boat together for the children.
Whose idea was that?
It seemed the best way to work it.
Well, that's right. There'd always be a reason for Tim to be here.
How long have you been building that boat?
18 months.
Not a bad idea, was it?
I'm pretty sure he never cottoned on.
We've been very careful.
Now listen to this. This is crucial.
After Teddy told me about his friend finding the lover's valentine, I thought I'd better check up on my locket. And I couldn't find it.
What locket?
The first time we made love, it was in a field down by the meadow. I picked a buttercup right where we were lying, and I brought it home. And I bought a little gold locket.
He'd put the buttercup in the locket, and then he gave it to me.
And you found it, didn't you?
I know nothing about it.
After listening to Harry, you went home to talk to your wife and check up, and you found the locket, didn't you?
No,
I can't deny it. I've got the evidence.
She wouldn't do that. I don't believe it.
It's in her own words.
She loves me.
The bitch is lying to you. The bitch is lying.
Don't say that.
Your children are at school. There you are, sweating to provide, and there she is, screwing your neighbour and your friend, your chum, in your own home.
It's not true.
The bitch and a bastard laughing at you. They're lying to you. They're getting off in your own home for 2 years.
They can't do that to me.
Entering your wife.
No.
I'd kill him, wouldn't you? See what I mean? About an act of transference. Go on. Sit down. Sit down. I was merely asking you a question you have already answered.
He said that I should go to my neighbour's house and threaten him with his life. And he said if it should ever happen to him, he would murder the man.
Teddy, we all carry a festering organism inside us that feeds on our anxieties, our insecurities, an alien in our minds. Now, you took a wife, and she gave you children, and you built a castle, and around that castle was a moat. And inside that castle, you were secure. But what happens when you discover your castle's just a flimsy house of cards? The alien grows. That's what happened to you that afternoon. You left your house in a rage.
I was not in a rage.
You went into the garage, you picked up the chisel, and you went looking for your wife's lover.
No.
But he wasn't in, so there you are, outside his house, with a rage, a fury, an alien you just have to get rid of. And around the corner comes Oswald Jones.
One afternoon, I helped a man I saw dying in the road. That's all. That's all I did.
Good news. We've got bail. You're free to go home.
I'm going to live with him. I'm sorry. Once you've let go, you'll feel better. It's the letting go that's difficult. Don't you think you should have gone to work?
I've said I'm ill.
I woke up and I made a decision. And I told my wife, either you go or I go.
And you went.
That's right. And now, I'm free. Now I can go down to the pub any night I want. I can drink as much as I want. I can come back home, perhaps with a mate or two, open a can of beer, watch the football, put some sex on the video, watch TV anytime I like. Yes, I found a nice room today. I can use the bathroom opposite, and the kitchen upstairs. And I tell you this, that bitch wife can do what the hell she likes. I've wiped her off my memory. I never want to see her bitch face again.
Yeah, I mean,
Scotch.
light scotch.
Thanks.
I've only met two kinds of families. Those that bust up and go two ways, and those that bust up and stay in the same place. You're always better off going two ways.
Exactly.
Anyway, weekend kids are the best deal you can get. The mother gets all the grey hairs, you get all the going out.
I would have been better off away from my kids. Then maybe they would have liked me more.
Am I not good enough in bed?
Teddy, I don't know.
Is that it, do you think? I've been working too hard, too many hours. It swallows a man up, work and work. We forget who we are. I've got it all wrong, haven't I? I could book us a holiday somewhere. Something romantic. I could do that, couldn't I?
Are you crazy?
It's what we need.
I don't want Christmas in the Alps. It's the last thing I need.
We could make a new beginning.
I love another man.
I don't want to hear him anywhere near my children. He's not bathing them, or reading them stories, or putting out the light, or mending their toys, or giving them rides.
Oh, Jesus!
Sometimes I wonder. I just wonder. Is it possible that a man can black out for maybe 15 or 20 seconds and not know what he did in that time? Not know then, and not know after? Is that possible?
I never heard of it.
Oh, I want to kill him.
I find it quite appalling. How could anyone believe you'd do such a thing? It's completely beyond my comprehension. If there's anything I can do, anything to help, you will let me know.
Yes, thank you.
I shall be giving you an excellent character reference and, of course, a cash sum, which obviously I'll have to quantify with Michael.
Are you dismissing me?
Teddy, I can't have a salesman with the charge of GBH pending.
But you know I'm innocent.
I know that, but does the buyer? They wouldn't arrest you for stabbing a man if they hadn't got good reason. No, I don't think that, but I can't have a criminal selling security.
But I'm not a criminal.
Teddy, I'm talking about the buyer.
I've been shouting your name from the rooftop of every town in this country for the last 12 years.
I completely understand what you're saying.
You can't turn me out now.
I want you to leave. The children are getting a rough time at school and in the road. Teddy, did you hear what I said?
Well, I have a vacancy if you boys are interested. You won't find a better, easier product to sell than C&M Home Security Systems. That's a promise. We're living in an age of fear.
Well, I'll go for it. Sure I will. Teddy was doing okay. What kind of car do I get?
Now, I had a very long look at this case, and I've come to certain conclusions concerning the conduct of your defense. I think we have to rule out self-defense and provocation. We can't claim that you were provoked into an attack.
No, of course not. I didn't attack him.
Well, yes, there is that, of course. Mistaken identity. And in some cases, that is an ideal defense.
But it is my defense.
Yes, but we can't use it.
Why not?
The circumstances aren't favorable for mistaken identity.
But that's what it is.
You see, in mistaken identity, you are challenging witness identification. However, in your case, we have the problem of the chisel.
But that was an extraordinary coincidence.
Mr. Rose, you will never convince a jury that your chisel was carried to the scene of the crime by another person. The cruel hand of fate cannot open a courtroom door, do you understand? A jury is asked to be reasonable, and what has happened to you is not reasonable. And that's a fact we just have to live with.
You don't believe me.
Mr. Rose, you have asked me to represent you, and I have a duty to do the best I can for you. If I were to say you didn't do it, I would be letting you down.
But that is the truth.
The truth is too weak.
Well, I can't confess to something I didn't do.
If I let you plead not guilty, the judge would give you no mercy.
Why?
Because of the way you behaved after you stabbed him. Your actions would be seen as those of a man pretending to be a good Samaritan. But to a judge, that is a heinous act. The devil in saint's clothing.
taking my things home. Then I'll be right out. I'm very sorry for the way things have happened. I want you to know that the last couple of years have been very difficult for Maggie. I know that she still loves you. And the last thing she wants is this kind of upset that you're going through. I also think you should know that we've broken off our relationship twice in the last year because she wanted to keep her life with you. Your life together as a family. She's felt a lot of confusion and tension that she hasn't been able to explain to you. I don't expect you to be tolerant of any of all this. Well, I understand what you're going through. We do have a genuine friendship, Teddy. You know that.
Don't tell me what I know.
Things will get better.
That's a joke.
I know it's an easy thing to say.
It's a joke. Thanks for the boat.
Maggie and the kids will be staying at my house tonight. And for a while. And if you want to see them, or talk, or whatever, you're welcome. Will you let me out of here, please? Teddy? Come on. Thanks.
A 38-year-old man called George Thompson has this morning been arrested for stabbing a woman to her death in the garden of her home in Marlborough Road. He was pursued in court, leaving the scene of the crime. He has no criminal or psychiatric record. He lives with his mother and works as a clerk for the council. The weapon used in the murder was a screwdriver, which he had appropriated from the garage of another house in Marlborough Road. Subsequent to his arrest and during his questioning, he admitted to a previous assault in Windsor Avenue, appropriating a chisel used in that assault from a garage in Weaver's Way. Your chisel and your garage. Your appearance at the scene of that assault was an extraordinary coincidence that no policeman could possibly take into account in a criminal investigation. Consequently, I and my team were thrown onto the wrong track. You have been the victim of an unfortunate occurrence, for which you have my sincerest apologies. The charge against you has been dropped. You're free to go.
Mr. Jones identified this other man?
No, but he has withdrawn his identification of you. It was a most unfortunate error of judgment. His memory of the event was very hazy.
you saying he was never sure it was me?
He's certainly the man who helped me. I first saw him bending over me, holding the chisel.
It was his chisel.
I see.
He thought it was sure at the time.
Thought?
He had had a very traumatic experience.
Oh, what about the others? Are they also now saying it wasn't me?
Who?
The man who said he saw me about to stab Mr. Jones.
An error of perception.
Oh, that's it. That's simple. And as my wife now found her locket.
Mr. Rowe's presumptions were made that should not have been made. From the moment we knew the chisel belonged to you, your guilt was never in doubt.
I've lost everything.
You have my sincerest
My
apologies.
wife, my children, my home, my job. Everything I had has gone. What do you say to that?
I believed I was right. There was no question I could have been wrong. I had no sense of doubt. It was a mistake. Understandable or unforgivable that I should not have made. And for that you have my sincerest apologies.
When I was about 20, I was sitting in a bar, and there were these salesmen, drinking, laughing, swapping stories, vying for the spotlight. But in the middle of them, there was this one man who was holding the light, and he was not giving way to any of them. And he was saying something which I've never forgotten. He said, there are two kinds of people, marionettes and the masters of the marionettes. You have to hold the strings. Never forgotten that, because that's not just a salesman's creed. That's a creed for life.
Anyone, anywhere can subscribe to BBC Video World. Just use one of these free phone numbers. Or you can write to this address. If you'd like a more leisurely look at these details, remember, of course, with video, you can always press the pause button. Subscribe to BBC Video World and enjoy an exclusive fortnightly compilation of the best in British television.
The next issue of BBC Video World happens to coincide with the Chelsea Flower Show. We'll be bringing you highlights from the exhibits and a look at some of the distinguished visitors.